everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Yay. Welcome back to the final day that we're in the stretch, the home stretch right now.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve Albini.
Yes. I don't know about you guys, but this whole weekend, every moment, I just keep thinking to myself, I don't want this to be over. It feels like a dream, and I'm sure you all are in the same boat where we're just like, this is like nothing I've ever experienced before in my life. And let's give a quick round of applause to Heather for doing this, and also to Holly Lewis for making this whole thing happen. Now sit down. Before we get on with this morning's activities, like bingo. There's going to be bingo in a half hour. I'd love to read this story about Steve. So here's a little Steve Albini wisdom that will live way past him. When you have an earworm, that song that you just can't shake, or a lyric that you can't get out of your head, with a bottle brush, play Tina Turner's Private Dancer. According to Steve, it's the perfect alkaline antidote to dislodging a viral song from your brain. Turner's Private Dancer, he argued, was hooky enough to stick in your mind, but not enough to stay there all day. Thus, it was the perfect musical cleanser. And it works. My wife and I have used it, recommended it to friends, and they have in turn spread the gospel of Albini, even when they didn't know it was from him. I'm not sure what the impact this has had on Turner's royalties, but it's a unique kind of endorsement, and that is from Robert K. Elder.
In this book of Steve that we've been going through and picking out stories and reading them, there's so much wonderful wisdom in there, and I'm really glad you pimped Heather into publishing this book.
Somebody told me to say that, Heather. I hope you do publish it now. Whoops.
Yes, I'm just saying there's some people here that I might have to speak to their managers.
She said, I'm just saying there's some people here that I might have to speak to their managers. So be expecting some phone calls later this week about that.
I was reading through one of them when I was choosing what to read, and it was a little too long to read for this interim thing, but there was a really great takeaway in it. Somebody said that Steve was more like a verb, and kind of went into why they thought that was true. And I felt like we really should be Steving more in our lives. And I want to take that away. So let's Steve more.
Yeah, that's true. Really, Steve yourselves silly this week, and as you move forward. Well, right now we have something very special that we're very excited to tell you about.
So this has been kind of in the works for a little while, and we're very lucky that Cherie Barreau has made this happen. Let's give her a round of applause.
Right there.
From the office of
Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa, we have three amazing people
that are going to come up to join us. Please welcome Jessica, Scott, and Chaz from the Alderman's office.
I'd like to thank you guys for coming down here, because only an asshole would ask the city to honor their husband and then make him drive to Zion. So I really...
Heather, they're just Steving.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Chaz Sturridge. I'm the Legislative and Policy Director for Chicago's 35th Ward Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa. These are my colleagues, Jessica and Scott. The Alderman is sorry he can't be here himself today, but I'm very honored to be here on his behalf to read and present this beautiful honorary resolution written by Steve's wife, Heather, which was officially adopted by the Mayor and City Council of Chicago at the July 17th City Council meeting.
That's right. It is.
A resolution adopted by the City Council of the City of Chicago, Illinois, presented by Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa on July 17, 2024. Whereas Steve Albini moved to Chicago to attend Northwestern University in the early 1980s and never left. And whereas Steve was a primary figure in the burgeoning Chicago punk rock music scene from its inception, eventually becoming, if unintentionally, an eternally important worldwide representative of the global underground and experimental rock music scene. And whereas, starting with his home recording studio on North Francisco Avenue, eventually, at his custom-built and self-financed Chicago recording studio, Electrical Audio, located at 2621 West Belmont Avenue in Chicago's Avondale neighborhood, and also at a dizzying variety of other studios around the world, Steve helps literally thousands of bands and other musicians realize their music as recorded media by providing world-class audio engineering talent at journeyman prices to essentially anyone who asked. And whereas countless other recording studios around the world have been built or improved upon by using Steve's insight into layout, materials, electrical concerns, equipment, HVAC, flooring, acoustics, and so forth, all provided by Steve as a top expert in his field, completely gratis and in sometimes excruciating detail. And whereas still no one else in the history of the planet has ever been able to record a drum kit like that. And whereas Steve and his wife, Heather Winna, started answering random letters to Santa over 20 years ago and have delivered presents and large amounts of cash to desperately needy residents of Chicago every single Christmas Day since. Most recently, as part of Heather's 501c3 poverty alleviation charities and their Letters to Santa charity effort, redistributing over $1 million in the process. And whereas Steve was a stalwart, irrationally generous friend to many over decades and stood on principle steadfastly, at great expense and inconvenience to himself, during a 4-decade career as a musician and recording engineer in or on the fringes of the often rapacious music industry. And whereas the great city of Chicago is a worse place without him, as surely it was a better place with him in it, as is and was the rest of the world. And whereas honoring the late Steve Albini would serve as a lasting reminder to his incredible expertise in his field, extreme generosity, and holiday spirit, great influence on the advancement of the state of sound recording, and overwhelming contributions to the arts in Chicago and the rest of the world. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the mayor and members of the City Council of the City of Chicago, do hereby honor the life and legacy of Steve Albini and honor him for his contributions to the music and recording industry in Chicago and worldwide. Be it further resolved that a suitable copy of this resolution be presented to Heather Winna, Steve Albini's beloved wife. Signed, Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
Can I quickly say that I know that when you heard the word rapacious, you know that I didn't write this, that Tim Idiot wrote this. And I cannot walk away letting anyone think that I stole their thunder. So the next time you know somebody who's going to get a street named after them, you should ask Tim to help you out.
40 cents a word.
I think that's about it. Isn't somebody coming up to introduce somebody? What's up? What's next? So we're 24
Edgar.
hours in this.
Oh, hey, there he is. Everybody welcome Edgar. You didn't scare me.
Should I keep talking?
No. Do you want to?
What do you want to do?
Right, what is it? Okay, great, but who is going to introduce Daniel? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Cool. Just in time to suck my tears back into my eyeballs. Oh, that was magnificent. What a legacy. Okay, so please, a warm welcome for writer Damian Rogers.
Just pick the one that looks closest. All right. Cool. See if you want to thank me after. I'm gonna try to not take up too much time, but I have like 3 parts to this, so don't like clap me off too fast. When I met Steve and Heather, I was young and fairly new to the city. I met Heather first, and in typical fashion for them, they immediately welcomed me in. And some of you may have heard Heather mention that they let me crash with them when Steve was recording Page and Plant at Abbey Road in London. I mean, that was cool. And I was there when we went to see I thought he was Australian, but anyway, the guy who played the didgeridoo. We weren't there that long, but while we were there, we were kind of standing around the bar, and at one point, I started talking to Robert Plant, no, I didn't accept his offer of a cigarette for some reason, which I still think is curious, but I was like, no, I'm fine. Did take a drink from Paige, and then at some point, Steve kind of came over to me, and he's like, ask me if Robert Plant just looked on your shirt. And like before I could even say, what, did Robert Plant, he's like, Robert Plant totally just looked on your shirt. I have to say, Steve was a lot more excited about it than I was. But that's what I remember, is that he loved just like observing everybody and bringing everybody in and giving people these experiences and making sure you didn't miss any of it. So 2 years ago, I spent some time with Steve and Heather. I lived with them for a few weeks through the spring and summer, and I interviewed Steve while I was there for this. I teach creativity and creative writing, so I wanted to ask him all these ridiculous questions about process that is not the way he likes to think about things. I'm like, so how does a song start for you? What does it feel like in your body? And he's like, oh, I don't know, riding my bike, I don't know. But of course, it went on for 2 hours, and then I've done nothing with it. So I transcribed it before coming. I'm doing something with it, but there's a lot of quotes that I just feel like were meant to be read here to this room. I cherish my relationships with the people I've met through music. The people that I met through music, these people mean the world to me. The respect that I have for them is unconditional. They are worth my attention and my admiration because of what they do and because of the people they are. It's not transactional. It's not like, oh, you can do something for me, so I deign to value you. When someone tells me that the music that I've done means something to them on a personal level, that is gratifying. It's intensely gratifying. And I don't see that as an opportunity to exploit that person. I think my view of culture and my view of the penetration of my creative output into other people's lives is different than a lot of other people's. A lot of people just see the world transactionally. They're fundamentally capitalists, these people. They want things to be a bargain or a trade or a deal, and I'm fundamentally not a capitalist and not a person who operates on the notion of deals and trade. The things that have never mattered to me have been these professional awards or milestones in a musical career, or acquiring a certain amount of money at any point. I've always figured if I have enough to live on and I get to keep doing it, then that's a win. What I respect about other artists and what draws me into other people's art is this feeling that I'm not being pandered to. The feeling that this is a thing that this person had to do because they were compelled to do it. And them expressing themselves requires that I commune with that person on their terms in a way that makes sense with them. The mindset that I've had, and this infiltrated from the tacit understanding of the punk rock world, is that whether you're in the crowd or on stage, we're all at the same gig, and we're all hoping for the same outcome. We all want it to be awesome. It's not that there is a passive audience receiving a scripted performance. It's that we're all doing this thing together. If we all do it well, then it'll be great. I think every time you're involved in something that involves the general public, you identify a community of people who are into that thing. It's a self-identified community of people who are in that room at that time. And as a group, we should try to make the experience amazing. All of us working together. And in some cases, that means I am choosing to buy a ticket to go to a thing so that I can be part of this chosen family, or whatever. In some cases, it means that I invite the band to stay at my house because they don't have a place to stay when they're on tour. Or I can make myself useful to them in some other way. Again, this is all informed by my experiences in the punk rock, where everybody was doing everything. Everybody in a band was also a flyer artist, and was also a gig promoter, and was also a guy that you could borrow a bass amp from, or whatever. Everybody was everything. And everybody was contributing to the greater experience, the greater project, which was making it awesome for us. I think that applies pretty broadly. That's what I've always gotten out of the music that I admire, a sense of communion with the person that made it. They chose a mode for us to have that interaction, and it was successful. And like, bravo, we did it. Good job, team. We got to have that experience. And then I asked him like stuff about how songs come to him, and I just wanted to sort of close this part with that, and then I'm going to read a little something where it's short. He said, I asked him about writing, and he said, I don't really feel any of those compulsions. I already don't feel as compelled to write songs or play music or make records. Those things are already less important to me than they were when I was a teenager or in my 20s. I think a lot of the satisfaction I get now in life is just spending time with Heather, spending quality time with Heather, hanging out at home and cooking. And all of these small domestic things are really gratifying to me. It's not puttering, it's actually a joyous activity. Also, I'm supremely satisfied. I was in several really good bands that were listened to readily by other people. I had an audience. I was able to express myself creatively at whim. And I feel like, yeah, you've experienced that. I don't need to be greedy. I don't need to have that constantly, always, forever. I feel like I got to say quite a lot for somebody who I'm comfortable being content with that rather than being greedy for more. I feel like I had my say, and it was great. And then he added, I don't need to be on the tip of everybody's tongue all the time, to which I will say, good luck with that. And then I just want to close with a short, these are just notes for the image of a man riding his bike to work, humming the beginning of something. Just say what you see. Yellow flag on flat blue sky. Insistent green waves. Or more precisely, it's the air that is insistent, the wind that keeps pushing the lake towards you, that shakes the little nodding seed heads in the grass. As a guitar player turns his back briefly on the audience to manipulate an electric tone, he makes it mimic the stutter of a heartbeat. If you find yourself slipping into a state of seem, reset yourself to be. It's easy. Give up your greed. You have to stand inside a circle if you want to know what it holds. The wind keeps pushing the green waves towards you. Allow yourself to be moved. Sing for and with your friends. Say what you see. That motherfucker is really listening. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone.
Let's give it for Damian Rogers.
So ridiculous to try and follow that.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Hi, I'm Rich. You can tell because it says it right there. One more thing to thank Steve and Heather for is how nice it's been to meet some of you during this weird, beautiful couple of days. So give yourselves a round of applause. I'm going to read something someone else wrote. Here we go. From the book of Steve. There's a thread on the forum that Steve founded that survived its iterations over the years called Little Details from Your Day. In that spirit, I have a short list of these random memories I have of the time I spent with Steve over the years. Things that I either observed that brought him humor or joy, or sharing in some small way a milestone experience in his own words. I present a modest collection of what I'll call little details from being around Steve. 1. Steve expressed utter delight in pilfering office supplies from his own company. Didn't matter, still delightful. 2, never not full of glee at the Tuesday night game he played there because he loved every regular, even when there was a grumpy player crap-assing about this hand or that. Anytime I made a comically small bet, it was near guaranteed he'd get tickled about the absurdity of it. 3, over the last years, Steve would routinely do an empanada run on his way to work. That's Steving. Or he'd bring donuts, and he'd express his severe annoyance with anyone who would cut the donuts into fractions. He had choice words in the past for such behavior that he later toned down. He settled on a note next to the box every time that said, no 16. I can't say that word. Also, sometimes over the past several years, he began referring to himself as Uncle Steve, and usually you could hear a little chuckle as he was saying it. And every time he said it, he smiled. So Steve could be creepy, too. He never adopted kid voice or acted a single degree differently when talking to children. He spoke to them like short adults, and no matter their age, he'd stick his hand out, say, "Hi, I'm Steve," and offer to shake hands with them. It was smart not to use the Uncle Steve there. He took great pride in the precision of his gift wrapping. Watching him do prep for letters to Santa for a few years, I always got a kick out of how pristine every package looked. When we paid off the mortgage on the studio back somewhere around 2010, he researched in earnest the cost of skywriting something profane to the lender now that we were free from them. I was observing a session with him back in 2006, and Steve went to go make a tape edit. The band was asking the usual questions about the process and seemed a little unsure about having their tape cut. One of the guys asked if it had ever gone badly before. Sensing they wanted a little reassurance just before he cut the tape, he said confidently, "Sure, I fucked up lots of records." The joy he expressed after the wedding when Steve would refer to Heather as Heather Winna, who I married. Steve was hired to record the Stooges in 2006. It's special to me because I knew it was something he really wanted to do, and I got to see a fun moment and where it was clear he was really satisfied with it. In session, he kept it all business, and it was hard to tell if he was actually having a good time or not. He graciously said goodbyes to the band after the session concluded. About 5 seconds after the last member left the door shut, he turned to Rob, who was on session with him the whole time, and said, quite happily, "Remember that time we made that Stooges record?" This was written by John San Paolo, whose name I probably just missed.
So a lot of the folks you've seen come up introducing folks are all a lot of people who participate in 24-hour. And for a lot of us, it is the best day of the year for us, is coming to be with Heather and Steve as a part of this amazing thing. And I whenever I think about that night, it usually is seeing Heather or Steve and Heather usually sitting somewhere either in the front or near that back, laughing and enjoying what's happening and seeing all these wonderful people coming together to make this amazing thing they do become a live, living being that's lasted for so long. With that being said, we have a wonderful last performer who has been a part of a lot of those years of playing there, and I have some words from Steve about that performer. He has a lot of fun-loving attitude that first got me interested in music scene here in Chicago. He appreciates absurdity as well as excellence, and it hasn't seen nearly enough people with that attitude lately. Welcome to the stage, Ty Segall.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's good. So I'm not the best at public speaking, but yeah. It's hard to think of what to say about Steve because, he just brought so much to me and my friends that got to meet him and work with him. One thing we always talked about is he's a documentarian, and furthermore, what I took away from working with him was just being present. I think it's really important to be present in what you do. So I try to be more present. And so when I recorded some songs with him, that was kind of the goal, was to be present. So I'm going to play some songs I recorded with him. So thanks for having me. Wake me up before you go to the other side of the world that we all know. Lazy, hazy, beautiful and lazy lady. The morning sun, it wants to know. It wants to know. I don't want to call you lady. I don't want to call you baby. I just want to call you hair and grin and feel the warmth of your skin. Oh, you're my orange lady. Oh, you're my silver lips of honey. Oh, you're my cherry fizzle sundae. And oh, you're my tree inside an airplane. lazy, orange color lady, the morning sun, it wants to know where you go. Sunday, and oh, you're my tree inside an airplane. You're beautiful, lazy, orange color lady, the morning sun, it wants to know where you go. Thank you. I'm a little nervous, so I'm gonna not be nervous anymore. Steve called this next song the SNL song. You say you want to cry, but your tears are dry. When I was that way, there's nothing left to say. Nothing left to say. Now my lady's on fire. She wants to tear it down. She knows you're a liar. Oh, my lady's on fire. Whoa, she said no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. She said no, 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 no. But still I wonder why he had to die. But when I feel that way, well, there's nothing left to say. Nothing left to say. Now my lady's on fire. She wants to tear it down. She knows you're a liar. Oh, my lady's on fire. Whoa, she said no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. She said no, 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 no. Thank you. This last song's about my dog, and Steve liked my dog. So here we go. It's a louder one, you know, thought I'd play a louder song too, you know. keep it under the covers. My fanny, she goes on down. I keep it under the covers. My fanny, yeah, how she gets down. She knows how to grab hold. My fanny runs you round. Yeah, my fanny, she won't let go. She loves you till you're down there. So I keep it under the covers. My fanny, she gets down. Keep it under the covers. Yeah, my fanny, oh, she sticks around. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
How about one more time for Ty Siegel? Well, that was officially the last performance of this whole amazing weekend. And if you didn't cry, you're a robot, and figure that out for yourself. We are just so honored. As Anthony said, we're Letters to Santa people, and Heather knows this, but we would do anything for her and always will. And we love everybody so very much, and we're so very honored to have been a part of this. We'd like to thank everybody at the Illinois Beach Hotel for their hospitality. They're going to be picking up a lot of name tags, I have a feeling. So make sure that you're kind to them and thoughtful on your way out. Thank you.
And if you just look around this room for a second, you can see all of the people here that have been working so hard this whole weekend to make sure that this goes off without a hitch. So please, a round of applause for the crew.
And before Anthony talks, I just want to say, Anthony wrangled us all weekend. And and no person should have to do that. Kyle's our stage manager. He's amazing. Everybody's Joe Ruffner, Leslie, everybody
Daniel,
who really,
Elliot.
we got a lot going on in our
Please.
fickle little brains.
Please
And
remind
so-
us what we're supposed to do and whose names we're supposed to say.
And Anthony's behind us going, Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Carlos Ramirez Rosa, over and over and over again.
So a round of applause for Anthony
How about
LeBlanc.
Anthony LeBlanc?
So we have come to the end of our weekend, but I think the only way we can appropriately end this is having Heather come back on stage and say some words for us. This one is for you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, right, because my Parkinson's. So I just keep looking out at every one of you, and I feel like I have a story for every one of you that involves the way that Steve saw you and your relationship. And I've had many people come up to me over this last few days and say, I don't know how I got on this list. And the thing is there's not a list of people to get in. There's a list of people that don't get in. And that's the difference between me and Steve, okay? And that's why Holly does all the work. And I do all the listing. And there's always someone to fill in that other piece of you. I'm just looking at Leslie. I wish I had enough time to tell every one of you, even the people who think that they didn't even know you, that he did know you and you were important to him because you were important to me and you made my life easier. I'm just going to take a minute to keep looking because I only get one shot at this. I mean, the Fugazi guys, fucking dice. And then I had to text, because then I heard that Bob and Todd thought they were going to be in charge of dice, which might have been the wrong way that I interpreted my text. But they were like, no, they're okay. And so the intensity of which everybody feels their connection to Steve and their connection to this community, even if this is a new community to you, because this is, I've spent my life trying to explain why comedy was important. I mean, I cannot go on enough about how comedy is the most important thing. It's more important than any other way of expressing yourself, because you can do it in many formats, but it takes bravery to open yourself up to people like that, right? And I didn't have to explain musicians, because I just figured if you didn't get them, fuck you. So, but the importance that your music has meant to me cannot be understated and has saved my life on many occasions. And I appreciate your trust in me to put on a show for you. And I appreciate your love for Steve and your appreciation for Steve, because sometimes he was hard to appreciate. So I'm going to leave with this final thing. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know how to use this, so. Try one more time. Volume up first.
Hi, Oliver. I'm Steve. I'm Heather's husband. Heather works with your mom at the charity sometimes. And I just wanted to make a video giving you a little bit of encouragement. Heather showed me some footage of you playing drums, and I was impressed because she says you're only 11 years old, which kind of blows my mind. I wasn't even really listening to music until I was a teenager, and you're already playing in front of other people. That's really an incredible head start, and I just wanted to encourage you and tell you that you can make music your whole life, and by that I mean you can spend the rest of your life making music. You don't have to do it all day, every day, and it doesn't have to be the one thing in your life, the only thing in your life, but you can keep coming back to it, and you can keep doing it, and it can be continually rewarding. I make my living in music. I make records for a living. I work in a studio. I'm in a band. I'm about to leave on a trip to go play some shows with my band on tour. But it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. It can just be something that you do now and again, and it will still give you a lot of satisfaction. I mean, there have been times in my life when I didn't play music for months on end, and then when I do get to play music, it feels like a vacation or like a holiday or a celebration or something. It's It's the greatest thing, and I just wanted to encourage you to keep doing it. And the other thing is, Heather mentioned some of the people that you like, some of the music that you like, Nirvana, PJ Harvey, the Breeders, things like that. Those are people that I know, and I know from talking to those people that when they were younger, they felt kind of weird and out of place. And I know when I was young, when I was your age and going into a teenager, I felt weird and out of place as well. And I want you to know that that feeling passes and you become comfortable in your own self. You become comfortable in your identity, and you stop worrying about what other people have to say about you or what other people think about you. It's like, for example, Kurt Cobain struggled with a lot of stuff when he was younger. He had questions about his gender identity. He had questions about his sexual orientation. He had questions about his place in the world, and he felt kind of lost for a while. And then eventually he became comfortable with himself, and that's when he completely owned his identity and his persona. Polly Harvey, for example, PJ Harvey, she was anorexic when she was a teenager. She had a lot of emotional problems, and then over time she became comfortable with herself, and she started to realize that the way she was fine, and that she didn't need to change in order to satisfy other people. Kim and Kelly Deal were born as twins, and they got mocked and bullied when they were kids because they were twins, and that was seen as kind of freakish and weird. But again, over time, they got comfortable with themselves, and they started to realize that what other people have to say about you doesn't matter. What matters is that you're happy about the person that you are, and if you persist in doing the things that you want to do to satisfy yourself, you can live your whole life that way. And I just wanted to encourage you to pursue music because I think you'd be great at it. That's all. Hi, Oliver.
And I noticed this weekend, I made a note to myself that it seemed like a lot of people, I don't know if it's presumptuous, but a lot of people seem to, I think we're all here for a reason, and that for some of us, we've known Steve for so long that our identity may be wrapped up in him. And he would want you to know that he loves you because of who you are. And Nina, you keep cutting those donuts. Because Steve was not always right. But at the center of his core, he would have agreed with me that he wants you to be you. And I want you to be you. And it's been such a pleasure for me to be able to connect these two families in a different way and in a more organic way, because everyone was on stage, even the audience. And I appreciate the effort that it took for so many of you guys to come down here. I mean, I don't want to pick one person out, but somebody just flew in and just played on stage. So it's an effort that doesn't go unmissed. So take Ricky home with you, and take these messages home with you, because I think you'll be great at it.